Okay, it's time for another Shannon Reads Those book with The Witches by Roald Dahl. This is... Woo! This is my 33rd book read from the Those Books list, and it was written in 1983, which really surprised me. I thought it was a lot earlier than that. It makes the list for being on the BBC Big Read, and it is 169 out of 200, so it's pretty far down there, although I know it is a pretty beloved book. I picked up this one just because it was available. It was at the library. I hadn't read it before. It looked fun, and I had read the BFG last year and quite enjoyed it, so I thought I would keep on going in terms of Roald Dahl. And it's always good to add some kids books in the mix. At least that's what I found. I'm on not the best run with the kids books. I just finished. I also read recently Anne of Green Gables, and that was only like an okay read for me. So, and then this one, this was a big NO. Big NO. I did not enjoy this one at all. There were very few things that I liked about it. I think the only thing I really liked about it was the lovely relationship between the protagonist and his Norwegian grandmother. That was awesome. That I really loved. But the story itself is actually about witches, and it is the little boy learns from his grandmother things like how to identify a witch, and that they have claws and they have square feet, and that it's just not really clear on what they do, but it sounds like they take children and disappear them or turn them into things, or that their goal is to rid the world of children, kind of, is sort of, that's like a bad thing, not supporting that at all or anything. But and it's an adventure story, getting into trouble and learning things and mystery and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I really don't like stories that vilify witches. So, and that's really what it does. It's really what it does. And so, like, the witches are evil, and here's all the ways that, all the things that they do and how they're so horrible and all that stuff. And I just really feel like I feel that I don't like that. I think that that's horrible. Yeah, so I can't support that. I also think it's really not that far of a step to saying some of the things that they're saying about this could be said about women, because this is kind of into the spoiler zone a little bit in terms of the plot. So I can't really go into my thoughts on this one without spoiling. So if you haven't read it, I think a lot of people have read this one. So I guess spoilers from here on in. The big thing is I didn't like it. I'm not going to read any more Roald Dahl, and there was also a very anti woman thing right at the end of the book. It's not really story based, but this is it. "Hang on a sec, Grandma," I said. "There's no way an English policeman is going to believe that you are the head of the Norwegian police." And then she says, "I am very good at imitating a man's voice." So there. So apparently, women cannot be the head of the chief of police. So that's a no. It's a no, it's a no, it's a no. And again, this was written in 83, not 1913. This is, this is easily a book that kids read, that little girls read, and there's a message in here saying, hey, you can't be the chief of police. No one would believe that. So, no, no, no. And in terms of the vilifying witches and how closely I think you could jump to saying that that's about women, and specifically about women who don't like or want children, I think you could easily make a case for that. So that just felt very negative. And not only that, okay, so now I'm going to go into big spoilers, like the end of the book, is that the boy and his grandmother decide, after they sort of take care of the witches, go them, that they're going to hunt down all the witches and take care of the rest of them. And it's like, okay, when you hear the term a witch hunt, I don't know about you, but like what I think of is, finding people to take the blame of something that they're not blameful of, and torturing them and having them be made an example and all that stuff. So just like, no, 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 no. No, no, no. There's so many things that bothered me about it. They did have some great illustrations, So, yeah, that's a big no. Okay, some of especially of the mice. And there was some interesting takes on that. But overall, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's a no. It's a no-go for me. Wow, this might be my shortest review ever. So I didn't enjoy it. No, I did understand it, yes. It wasn't what I expected, oddly. And I know this is a story that people just like and enjoy and think of as like a fun sort of thing, but I don't think that's okay with witches, so I'm saying no. I'm saying no. And I had heard some stuff that that the author possibly there's some problematic things which I didn't know about and I haven't looked into. But I didn't want to. It was in the middle of reading this book that I had heard that, so I'll look it up after. And I do find that a challenge of what to do when that happens, when there's an author that you like their work or you're interested in reading their work, but then you find out something about them personally that you don't agree with or don't want to support, especially when it's someone who has passed away. I find it. I find myself not sure what to do in that situation. I'd love to hear what other people do in that situation. Does that impact your reading habits? Are you willing to read books from authors that you feel have done things that are inappropriate or whatever it may be? I don't know what it is about this author, so I'm not using that as an example, but more of just a discussion point. Like, how do you, or even the subject matter, like when you feel like the subject matter is not being represented in a way in which you agree with, how do you like, do you just avoid it, do you take it on, do you spark discussions, because I think that's an interesting point too. So for me, if anyone has any book recommendations where witches are seen in a positive light, I would love to see that because that is something that I want to support. So I'll leave it on that note because that feels like a happy note. And I think that catches me up for my those books adventure. I don't know what to pick next because I feel like the last couple of choices have all been just not really like ones that I've really resonated with. So I'll put a link to the big long list if there's anything on there that you go like, oh, Shannon would really like that. Feel free to let me know. Or maybe it's time for me to revisit the list in terms of how maybe I've read all the ones on the list that are of interest, or maybe I should try a different list for a while. I don't know, because the rhythm of things has changed. I started this project 3 years ago, and so maybe my priorities have changed, but there's still lots of books on there that I haven't read that I'm sure are good. So I don't know. So many thoughts. So there you go. That was The Witches. So yeah. All right. See you at the next book.